What's next in the trial? The trial will move forward with questioning of key witnesses and closing arguments where each side will make their final push to persuade the jury. New revelations could still emerge, potentially shifting perspectives and altering the trajectory of the case. After hours of intense legal arguments, the trial entered a critical phase, the examination of key witnesses. This stage is considered the final piece of the puzzle, poised to unveil long-hidden truths and bring clarity to the case. First witness, Diddy's personal bodyguard. Shocking testimony. The bodyguard revealed detailed insights into the internal operations, how orders were communicated, and instances of internal conflict and power struggles within the system. Hidden behaviors. He confirmed having witnessed coercive actions, including both financial and psychological pressure directed at group members. Forced silence. His testimony also exposed the pressure he faced allegedly from Diddy and his associates to remain silent and conceal the truth. Second witness. The dancer. An insider. Untold stories. The dancer spoke about the suffocating environment, strict demands, and the consequences faced by those who dared to speak out or failed to comply. Internal division testimony revealed deep divisions and conflicts, offering a clearer view of how the system functioned behind the scenes. Fear and endurance. With emotional candor, the dancer described the mental strain of enduring pressure to keep their job and livelihood. Third witness, the model, victim and witness. Detailed accounts of incidents. The model shared vivid accounts of harassment, abuse of power, and being threatened into silence. Physical evidence. She provided supporting evidence, including messages, emails, and images that substantiated her claims. A plea for justice. Her emotional testimony included a heartfelt plea for truth and justice, not just for herself, but for her peers as well. Impact of the witness testimonies. Turning point in the trial. These testimonies marked a critical shift, giving the court a clearer understanding of the operational structure and the roles of various individuals. Increased pressure on the defendants. Diddy and his alleged co-conspirators faced mounting pressure as direct insider accounts reinforced the prosecution's case. Public outcry and sympathy. Widely covered by the media, the witnesses' stories struck a chord with the public, generating significant sympathy and renewed public interest. Reactions from all sides. Prosecution. Encouraged by the strong witness statements, the prosecution capitalized on the momentum, using the new evidence to strengthen its arguments. Defense. The defense worked to undermine the credibility of the witnesses, highlighting inconsistencies and attempting to cast doubt on their motivations. The court. The panel received each testimony with caution and care, meticulously analyzing the details in pursuit of a fair and just verdict. Preliminary conclusion. The examination of these key witnesses marked a pivotal moment in the trial. It opened new lines of inquiry while shedding light on complex elements of the case. This phase brought the truth closer to the surface, illuminated by the principles of justice. The trial not only focused on the main figures, but also gradually revealed those working behind the scenes, individuals and organizations that helped build and sustain the complex system being exposed. This section highlights the roles of less visible players who, despite not being in the spotlight, hold significant influence over the entire case. The mysterious figures named legal and financial advisors. Several lawyers and professional accountants have been identified as assisting the defendant in concealing financial transactions and constructing a complex legal framework designed to avoid prosecution. Senior managers beyond Diddy and his close aides, senior managers at affiliated companies are responsible for daily operations and transmitting instructions. External actors. Some individuals not directly part of the system exert influence through social and economic relationships, helping protect and maintain the network. How the hidden network operates. Indirect management. These figures typically do not make decisions or directly engage in criminal acts, but operate from behind the scenes, maintaining distance to avoid legal scrutiny. Use of front companies. They establish shell companies to conceal money flows and contracts, thereby masking illegal activities. Multi-layered communication. All directives are passed through several intermediaries, creating layers of protection between key figures and the criminal acts. Testimonies and evidence about the behind-the-scenes actors. Some witnesses have provided information on these individuals' roles, revealing how they operate and influence the system's activities. Leaked videos and messages also indirectly show the involvement of these actors in various meetings and close exchanges. However, collecting direct physical evidence remains challenging due to their careful shielding and sophisticated tactics. Impact of the hidden network on the case. Uncovering and clarifying the roles of these behind-the-scenes players expands the scope of the investigation beyond those already arrested. It also presents a significant challenge to prosecution efforts, as these individuals often use legal knowledge and sophisticated methods to evade responsibility. Experts and lawyers' assessments. Legal experts note that dismantling this hidden network requires time, effort, and close coordination among investigative agencies. Defense attorneys argue that some of these individuals might be scapegoats unfairly blamed due to public and media pressure. Preliminary conclusion. The hidden network beneath the surface of the case functions like an underground organization with a tight structure and sophisticated operations, playing a crucial role in managing the entire system. Continuing to investigate and clarify each member's role in this network is essential for delivering a fair and comprehensive verdict. The trial has attracted significant attention from both the media and the public, sparking lively debates around legal, ethical, and social issues. This section analyzes in detail how the media has covered the case and its impact on public opinion and the parties involved. How the media covered the case. Major news outlets and social media. From traditional newspapers to social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, the case has been continuously reported with analytical articles, interview videos, and live discussions. Multifaceted coverage. Some reports focus on legal details, others emphasize shocking aspects, and some sensational pieces have polarized public opinion. Investigative journalists. Several reporters have been present at the courthouse for days, gathering information, interviewing witnesses and experts to provide deeper insights. Public reactions divided opinions. Some believe in Diddy and his team's innocence, seeing them as victims of false accusations. Others express outrage at the charges and demand strict justice. Justice Campaign's social media has seen numerous campaigns calling for transparency and fairness in the trial, including small protests in various cities. Community impact. The case has sparked widespread discussions about workers' rights, power dynamics, and abuse within the entertainment industry. The dark side of media coverage, fake news, and conspiracy theories. Alongside factual reports, rumors and conspiracy theories have circulated, causing confusion and complicating the situation. Pressure on involved parties. Individuals in the case face intense public scrutiny, leading to stress and fatigue. Manipulation and distortion. Some parties are suspected of using the media to shape the narrative in their favor. Role of media experts. Many analysts emphasize that while the media holds great power, it also carries the responsibility to report accurately and objectively. They warn of the risks that media coverage may mislead investigations and harm the rights of those involved. Long-term impact on personal and organizational reputation. The case has severely affected the reputations of individuals, especially Diddy and close associates. Organizations and companies linked to the case face boycotts, diminished credibility, and loss of trust from partners and customers. Preliminary conclusion. The media and public's reactions serve as a multifaceted mirror, reflecting the case, helping society better understand its internal issues, but also posing challenges in managing information and maintaining fairness amid intense public scrutiny. Legal analysis challenges in proving the case. Complex legal context. The case involves numerous complex factors from various social strata professions and diverse types of evidence, witness testimonies, video clips, electronic messages, and confidential investigative reports. These elements create significant challenges in building a case file and persuading the court. Evidence issues, authenticity of leaked videos. The video clips are among the most crucial pieces of evidence, but defense attorneys have argued the possibility of editing, splicing, or misquoting. Conflicting testimonies. Some witnesses have provided inconsistent statements, complicating the determination of objective truth. Indirect and speculative evidence. Besides direct evidence, many allegations rely on speculation and circumstantial evidence, weakening their persuasive power. Legal issues regarding privacy and evidence collection. Some evidence faces legal challenges, especially related to videos and audio recordings obtained without the consent of the involved parties. Defense lawyers emphasize that violations of privacy rights could lead to the exclusion of such evidence from the case file. Difficulties in determining legal responsibility. Identifying who is directly responsible within a complex system, as seen in this case, is not straightforward. Overlapping accusations make attributing individual or collective responsibility highly complicated. Issues of motive and criminal intent. The law typically requires clear proof of motive and intent. In this case, proving these elements is difficult as involved parties deny allegations or offer differing explanations for their actions. Role of lawyers and legal experts. Both defense and prosecution attorneys face challenges managing a large, multifaceted case file. Legal experts are called upon to analyze technical evidence, verify validity, and assist the court in evaluation. Pressure of time and public opinion. Pressure from public opinion and the media forces the court to balance between swift proceedings and ensuring fairness and accuracy in the trial. Preliminary conclusion. Legal analysis shows that this case is not merely a confrontation between individuals, but a major challenge for the legal system, requiring caution, objectivity, and strict adherence to regulations to ensure justice is properly served. During the course of following the case, one thing is clear: the complexity lies not only in the human factors or internal conflicts, but also deeply in the legal challenges that always exist in large-scale cases involving multiple layers and parties. The first and greatest challenge for all involved is the authenticity of the evidence, especially the leaked video clips. In court defense, attorneys have repeatedly emphasized the possibility that these videos may have been edited or spliced to construct a narrative favorable to the prosecution. This raises a serious question about the methods of collecting and handling evidence in today's digital era, where technology allows for sophisticated manipulation of images and sound, often undetectable to the naked eye. Moreover, witness testimonies also pose a significant challenge. Throughout the trial, many witnesses, though appearing sincere, inevitably present conflicting accounts. Some are under psychological pressure, may forget details, or deliberately withhold the truth out of fear of retaliation or due to complicated personal relationships. This makes it even harder to determine the objective truth. Consequently, using these testimonies as evidence requires very careful consideration to avoid wrongful convictions. Another critical issue is the legal aspect of privacy and the legality of evidence collection. In this case, many videos and recordings were reportedly obtained without the consent of the parties involved, including some recorded during private meetings or in closed rooms. Defense attorneys have vigorously argued that these pieces of evidence severely violate personal privacy rights under the law and therefore should be deemed inadmissible. This is a crucial point the court must weigh carefully, because if these evidences are excluded, the prosecution would lose important proof to support their allegations. Furthermore, delineating legal responsibility within such a complex system makes the case even more difficult. Within Diddy's organization and associates, it is nearly impossible for any individual to act alone. The accusations that Diddy did not act alone indicate clear cooperation and task division among members, from assistants, bodyguards, and managers to other staff. The challenge lies in clearly identifying who holds primary responsibility, who is a collaborator, and who is merely exploited or unwittingly involved. This issue goes beyond legal questions and touches on ethics and social responsibility. Equally important is the challenge of proving motive and criminal intent. Criminal law typically requires establishing clear motive and intent to differentiate between deliberate crimes and accidental or provoked acts. Here, the prosecution must prove that the related acts were planned, prepared, and carried out with malicious intent. Meanwhile, the defense continually seeks to deny or minimize this intent, claiming the acts resulted from misunderstandings or situational pressures. Proving this requires a close combination of direct evidence testimonies and psychological analysis. The pivotal role of lawyers and legal experts in extracting, analyzing, and challenging evidence cannot be overlooked. Both sides maximize their resources to defend their positions, from calling on digital forensic experts to verify videos to psychologists who analyze witness statements and behaviors of those involved. This is a fierce battle of wits, not only in the legal arena, but also in the fields of science and technology. Finally, an ever-present factor increasing pressure on the entire trial process is public opinion and media scrutiny. The case has drawn intense media attention, with every minor development being sensationalized and causing polarized views in society. This presents a major challenge for the court to balance fairness, objectivity, and the need for transparency and swift resolution to prevent suspicions of bias or cover-ups. Taken together, it is clear that handling this case is not simply about proving right or wrong, but is also a test of the legal system's capacity to function in a modern society with complex technical elements, diverse witnesses, and community pressure. Only through carefulness, transparency, and strict adherence to the law can justice truly be served. Courtroom developments. A tense showdown between the prosecution and defense. The trial reached its most intense phase as the prosecution and defense teams engaged in a direct confrontation. The courtroom atmosphere grew heavy and tense, with every question and testimony meticulously analyzed like pieces of a complex puzzle. The prosecution began by presenting their most critical evidence, focusing on the leaked videos, witness testimonies, and the coordinated operations within Diddy's organization and associates. Prosecutors exploited every weakness in the witnesses' statements, highlighting inconsistencies, attempts to withhold information, and even evidence of intimidation to keep witnesses silent. The defense remained unshaken. Diddy's lawyers continuously challenged each argument, emphasizing inconsistencies in the evidence and questioning the legality of the videos and the methods used to collect information. They proposed the theory that the case was stirred up by personal conflicts, jealousy, and a media campaign aimed at undermining Diddy's reputation. The cross-examination unfolded with intense focus from everyone in the courtroom. One of the most shocking moments came when a witness unexpectedly changed their testimony, revealing new details about the secret operations within Diddy's security system. This revelation stunned the courtroom, forcing everyone to reconsider their perspective on the case. Diddy himself was called to testify directly before the court. His demeanor throughout the trial displayed calmness and confidence, though there were moments when tension was apparent. Through his straightforward and resolute answers, Diddy asserted that he was not only the head of the organization, but also personally responsible for maintaining the team's integrity and ethics, denying all criminal allegations. The prosecution quickly countered by presenting leaked audio recordings containing conversations alleged to prove that Diddy had directed actions potentially constituting criminal offenses. These recordings marked a turning point in the trial, putting significant pressure on the defense team. However, the defense promptly brought in legal and digital forensic experts to analyze the recordings, arguing there were signs of editing, splicing, and even forgery. These experts provided detailed explanations on how to detect manipulated audio, sparking a fierce debate in the courtroom. The entire trial became an uncompromising battle between prosecution and defense, where even the smallest detail could shift the course of the case. Judges and the jury had to carefully listen and document every testimony and analysis to uncover the truth amid the sea of conflicting information. Outside the courtroom, the media continuously reported on the latest developments, intensifying public interest and scrutiny. The pressure from the media created additional waves, turning the trial into not only a legal proceeding, but also a fierce contest over honor and reputation. Secret meetings and shocking testimonies. Immediately following the intense confrontations in the courtroom, a new wave of information swept through the media, and the case itself, previously undisclosed secret meetings, began to come to light. Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former close assistant, was summoned once again. This time, her testimony went beyond clarifying facts and stunned the courtroom by revealing a series of covert meetings between Diddy and several powerful figures in the entertainment industry and private security. Capricorn provided detailed descriptions of evenings spent in a heavily guarded room where only a select few were allowed. She disclosed that these meetings weren't just about discussing music projects or business deals, but also involved coordinating and controlling information to keep sensitive actions under wraps. One of the most frequently mentioned individuals was Marcus Bennett, Diddy's personal security director. Known for being especially loyal and cold, Marcus was said to be directly in charge of coordinating protection operations and managing public affairs. Capricorn's testimony placed Marcus under suspicion, claiming he had ordered the security team to intervene with force to suppress internal conflicts. Additionally, Vanessa Cruz, a model who worked within Diddy's event system, was called to testify. Vanessa described a tense atmosphere filled with silent fear inside the organization, especially when someone dared to speak out or showed signs of being disobedient. She recounted warnings against revealing private matters and even threats she received when she nearly exposed sensitive incidents. As the trial progressed with unexpected testimonies, Derek James, a longtime former dancer in Diddy's group, emerged as a shocking figure. Derek openly spoke about witnessing harsh treatment of team members and invisible pressures designed to maintain secrecy and stability within the empire Diddy had built. These accounts raised questions about the fine line between power and abuse of power. What shocked everyone the most was the appearance of Jasmine Lee, Diddy's current personal assistant. Jasmine admitted that she had been asked to record secret conversations and was the keeper of many of the audio recordings used by the prosecution as evidence. Her testimony rocked the courtroom, especially since she had previously appeared utterly loyal to Diddy. Not only were secret meetings and personal testimonies revealed, but phone messages and emails between key figures also began to be presented. These messages served as puzzle pieces, filling gaps in the complex picture, revealing coordination orders and even cover-ups within the system. The trial unfolded like a gripping action film, with each twist dramatically unraveling. Every witness and new piece of evidence brought the public's curiosity and concern to a higher level about what else remained hidden beneath the surface. Perspective from the defense. The fight for justice and the distorted truth. As shocking testimonies from the prosecution and witnesses emerged, Diddy's defense team refused to remain passive. They quickly formulated a strategy to counterattack, clarify ambiguous points, and cast serious doubt on the accuracy of the evidence, as well as the motives of the accusers. The lead defense attorney, Marcus Hale, appeared in court with a calm and sharp demeanor. From the outset, he emphasized that the defense's role was not only to protect their client, but also to safeguard the legal rights of everyone involved and defend objective truth against distortion. Marcus focused on two main aspects: the authenticity of the leaked videos and the motives of the witnesses. He persuasively argued that many of the videos in the case had been edited or manipulated to distort the truth. He presented digital forensic experts who demonstrated signs of forgery and image tampering, creating so-called smoking gun evidence that was not entirely accurate. Additionally, Marcus raised concerns about testimonies from witnesses with personal conflicts or vested interests in the case. For example, he highlighted the complicated relationship between Capricorn Clark and some members of Diddy's circle, suggesting that her revelations might be influenced by personal emotions and external pressures. One key point the defense emphasized was that witnesses like Vanessa Cruz and Derek James had reportedly been threatened and coerced under various circumstances. Marcus argued that this resulted in a lack of honesty and led to inaccurate statements made to serve personal interests or mitigate their own situations. Furthermore, Marcus strongly disputed the prosecution's claims regarding a system of control and coercion. He asserted that Diddy and his team acted within legal boundaries and professional standards with no signs of abuse of power or illegal conduct. In fact, he portrayed Diddy as a protector who maintained safety and shielded his team members from external threats, a critical role often misunderstood. During cross-examinations, Marcus relentlessly questioned prosecution witnesses, aiming to expose contradictions in their testimonies, causing several witnesses to falter or revise their statements. Particularly noteworthy was the testimony of Jasmine Lee Diddy's current personal assistant, considered by the prosecution as crucial evidence. The defense argued that Jasmine was under duress and pressured to cooperate, so the audio recordings she provided could not yet be deemed conclusive proof. They requested the court to review the procedures for collecting and preserving these recordings to ensure their legality. Facing pressure from the prosecution and the media, the defense team did not hesitate to urge the public to wait for the full truth to emerge through an impartial trial process rather than rushing to conclusions based on one-sided information and media tactics. Under the spotlight of sharp legal arguments and technical data presented, the image of Diddy shifted from a simple villain as painted by the prosecution to a complex individual with many conflicting facets, both a powerful figure and a victim of schemes and disputes within the entertainment industry. Courtroom developments, tension, and unexpected twists. The courtroom that day opened under a heavy atmosphere. The hall was packed with reporters, lawyers, family members, and others closely following the sensational case. Security was tight, with guards continuously checking lists to ensure no incidents occurred throughout the trial. Opening of the trial. Presiding Judge Helen Ramsey began by emphasizing the importance of objectivity and fairness in examining all evidence and testimonies. She reminded everyone present to maintain a serious attitude and not be influenced by the media or public opinion. Immediately after, the prosecution started summarizing the case, highlighting key pieces of evidence and stressing the severity of the charges against Diddy and his associates. Videos, audio recordings, and witness statements were shown and read before the court. Tension. During the examination, prosecutors began questioning witnesses, including models, dancers, and bodyguards who had worked with Diddy. The questions focused on confirming events related to the accusations and the pressures or threats the witnesses claimed to have experienced. The witnesses' reactions varied. Some appeared confused, others spoke clearly and firmly. Notably, testimony from Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former assistant, sparked significant controversy as she described in detail the control system within the group, including coercion and forced actions. Defense's response. When it was the defense's turn, Judge Ramsey allowed attorney Marcus Hale to conduct cross-examinations. He challenged the credibility of witnesses using digital evidence, alternative videos, and information about internal conflicts. A dramatic moment unfolded when Marcus presented proof that a key video shown by the prosecution had been deliberately edited and manipulated to distort the facts. This revelation silenced the courtroom and forced many to reconsider the entire case. Unexpected new testimony. The trial also introduced a new witness. Lena Park, a well-known investigative journalist who had conducted secret interviews with several individuals involved in the case. Lena revealed information about public pressure and a media campaign that may have been orchestrated to systematically tarnish Diddy's reputation. Lena's testimony added an unexpected twist, forcing the prosecution to adjust their strategy and proceed more cautiously in building their arguments. Atmosphere in the courtroom. As the session progressed, the atmosphere grew heavier and more tense. Some witnesses showed signs of exhaustion. A few even broke down in tears. Lawyers argued fiercely, but maintained respect for one another and the court. Meanwhile, the public following the trial via social media continuously debated and analyzed every development and testimony. Strongly opposing opinions surfaced, reflecting the complexity and multifaceted nature of the case. As the trial entered its most critical days, the jury, representatives of justice, and the people became the focal point of everyone's attention. They were not only responsible for hearing the evidence, but also had to analyze, evaluate, and ultimately decide the fate of Diddy and his co-defendants. Early phase trust in the testimonies. At first, the jury members seemed largely convinced by the prosecution's witnesses. Stories of pressure threats and ruthless control within the system that Diddy had allegedly built sent chills through many. The leaked videos and audio recordings were also considered compelling evidence, painting a fairly clear picture of a secretive organization wielding power and fear. During private deliberations outside the courtroom, the jury repeatedly discussed the credibility of these testimonies, questioning whether they reflected only one side of the story or if the truth was far more complex. Emerging contradictions. However, as the questioning deepened in subsequent sessions, many contradictions in the testimonies began to surface. Some witnesses presented inconsistencies in details such as timing, locations, and involved parties. Others were accused of having personal conflicts with related parties or ulterior motives to distort the truth. Videos and documents presented by the defense further shook the jury's confidence. The discovery that some videos had been edited or pieced together highlighted the complexity of evaluating the evidence. Jurors began to show caution, even skepticism, regarding the origins and objectivity of the materials presented. Intense internal debates. The jury engaged in continuous debate during private meetings. Some members felt the testimonies of Capricorn Clark and other prosecution witnesses carried significant weight, demanding fairness and strict handling. Conversely, others pointed to the contradictions and defense evidence as reasons to seriously question the accuracy of the charges. A few jurors with experience in complex cases emphasized that in multi-layered trials like this, truth is rarely purely black or white. They advocated for a comprehensive perspective, cautioning against being swayed by emotions or outside public pressure. Trusting each testimony, a major challenge. Setting a standard of trustworthiness for each testimony proved to be an extremely difficult challenge. Every story and detail was carefully weighed from multiple angles: consistency, witness motives, and the reliability of physical evidence. Moreover, the pressure from media and public opinion intensified the jury's stress. They had to protect their impartiality while resisting influence from potentially distracting or misleading information. Jury's tentative conclusion. At the end of the day's closed session, a consensus emerged. No hasty conclusions could be made. All decisions had to be based on careful and fair analysis. Regardless of how persuasive any testimony might be, it needed to be considered within the full context of the case. The jury's current strategy was not to seek absolute consensus, but to balance contradictions, uphold justice and fairness, and ultimately deliver a verdict grounded in the most reliable evidence available. After weeks of intense work, the jury finally reached their final decisions, after thoroughly reviewing every piece of evidence testimony and enduring fierce internal debates. The light of justice seemed both faint and heavy, with the complex shades of truth and fairness. The trial enters a historic moment. The atmosphere in the courtroom grew tense as the judge announced that the jury would deliver their verdict. All eyes focused on the jurors who had quietly deliberated in a closed room, carefully weighing every detail over the past several days. Diddy stood beside his legal team, his face calm, but his eyes revealing a depth of emotion. The prosecution maintained a serious demeanor, preparing for any possible outcome. Decisions on each charge. The jury announced their verdict. They found sufficient evidence to conclude that Diddy and some of his co-defendants were responsible for illegal actions, including charges related to managing an organization involved in unlawful conduct and intimidating witnesses. However, for some other charges, due to conflicting testimonies and lack of conclusive evidence, the jury could not make a definitive ruling. This verdict brought relief to many in the courtroom, but also left numerous questions unanswered. Reactions from the parties involved. The prosecution, though somewhat dissatisfied with the inconclusive aspects, regarded this as a preliminary victory in exposing a complex underground power structure. They affirmed their commitment to continue investigating and pursuing related cases to uphold justice. The defense, cautiously accepting the outcome, maintained that Diddy and the accused had no malicious intent and that many charges were exaggerated or misunderstood. They called on the public to view the case with greater objectivity and fairness. Consequences and lasting lessons. The trial's conclusion marked not just the end of a case, but a stark warning about the power of influence and the dangers of covert systems operating in the shadows. It also sparked societal awareness of the importance of transparency and accountability in culture, entertainment, and business sectors. Many within the arts media and the broader public sighed at the case's complexity, realizing that truth is rarely found in simple stories, but requires careful scrutiny with absolute impartiality and fairness. An ending. But not the end. Diddy and his associates left the courtroom carrying unavoidable legal and social consequences. Yet the story was far from over. Ongoing investigations, future trials, and new testimonies would continue to open new chapters in the quest for truth. This trial served as a large mirror, reflecting every dark corner of power and truth, reminding society that justice is never a straightforward path, but a complex, challenging journey filled with both trials and hope.